Hi guys, just want to do a quick video on the fastest way to farm Greg's Reverse Fate weapon. So this seems to be one of the more popular weapons since the patch that just came out, so I'm sure a lot of you are after it, so I'll just sort of run through it item by item and which amorphous material you're going to want to prioritise to get it the quickest. So first things first, as with basically all farms, you want to farm these top 3 items first. They have a 2-hour craft time, whereas the code doesn't need crafting, and so once you get these crafting, it sort of gives you 2 hours to go out and farm the code, and that can sort of save you a little bit of time all in all. So this farm's actually quite a bit different to all the other farms. You're not going to be wanting to do any hard mode farming for this if your goal is purely to get the gun sort of the quickest way possible. So for the first part, the polymer, you're going to want to farm pattern 29. So the reason why you don't want to go for the hard modes is they actually have a lower drop chance. So the 105 pattern has a 32% drop chance, whereas 29 has a 38%. The reason why you don't want to go after pattern 8 is because it only has a 15% drop chance, and the reason why you don't want to go after 45, whilst it also has a 38% drop chance, you're not guaranteed to get the amorphous material from its corresponding mission. It's one of the special operation missions, and so you do have a chance of getting it, but it's not guaranteed, and to be honest, a full run of it is actually quite difficult. The only benefit to doing 45 rather than 29 is you do get some void fragments whilst running that mission, but if your pure goal is to get this to quickest, then 29 is going to be a more consistent way of doing that, so just go with pattern 29. So for the second part, the fibre, you're going to want to go after pattern 34. So reason being is pattern 34 has a 38% drop chance, pattern 2 only has a 15% drop chance, you don't want to waste your time doing that, and pattern 72 only has a 32%, so a lower drop chance, requires more fragments, and is a harder boss, so I wouldn't waste your time on 72. And the reason why you want to go after pattern 34 rather than 23 is 34 is a void fusion reactor, whereas 23 is an intercept battle, and whilst for hard mode I would normally suggest doing the opposite and going after the intercept battles, because void fusion reactors are so cheap to open up and the bosses are going to be so easy to do on normal mode, you're just going to save yourself a lot of time going through the void fusion reactor. And on top of that, pattern 34 actually has a much higher drop chance here, so you can see it's got the 20% here just from doing it normally, but you can also get up to an extra 20% for the same pattern 34 if you do it with Sharon. So definitely do it with Sharon and you're sort of pushing that 40%, so it's a much better farm to do all in all. Also, as well as it being lower shard count being the normal mode, it uses monomer as a primary, so just an added benefit since monomer is the quickest shard to farm for. And so for the third part, the tube, you're going to want to go for pattern 18. Reason being is it has a 38% drop chance, whilst pattern 51 also has a 38 drop chance. Hangman is a slightly more difficult boss, even though it's a common boss, you have to do it in public lobbies, whereas Executioner you're just relying on yourself, so you're not going to fail it basically with it being the common mode boss, so don't bother with Hangman, just go with Executioner. You won't want to do 114 because it is a slightly lower drop chance at 32% rather than the 38%, and since Kyle's one-shot build has unfortunately been removed, Frostwalker is now back to being probably the most difficult boss in the game, so you're going to waste a lot of time trying to push through 114 when you can just simply do it through a common Executioner battle. And the reason why you don't want to go after pattern 28 is it's just a 15% drop chance, so it would be a complete waste of time. So lastly, for the code, you're going to want to go after pattern 49 AA. Reason being is this is a 38% drop chance, and it also actually has a Luna part in there at a 38% drop chance, so if you're farming her, this is sort of the perfect one to go for. And again, just to show you, similar to the other amorphous material through the void fusion reactor, pattern 49 AA is also a double drop if you use Sharon, so you can see here 20% for doing it normally and up to 20% for doing it as an infiltration. You don't want to farm pattern 64 because it only has a 10% drop chance, and being a hard mode it is going to take slightly longer. 44A involves going through sort of the inset battle and the dungeons, which again, because it's a common mode and not hard mode, I'd advise avoiding and instead going for the void fusion reactors just because it's going to be quicker all in all. And then the reason why you don't want to go after 12 is the exact same reason as pattern 44A, just avoid the inset battles for normal mode. So the first pain point item is the compound carbon activator. For this you're going to want to go on normal Mystery's End. Unfortunately these farms are just a bit of a pain, and you're basically going to run through until you get to the health boss, you're going to kill it, it's going to drop 5 to 10 and then you can just sort of back out and reset. Fortunately you only need 7 in total, so it's not too bad all in all. For the second pain point item, the deformed biometal, you don't really have a choice, it's just through outposts, and so if you do it on normal mode, it's going to be slightly quicker, so just pick one of the normal mode outposts and just sort of farm it on repeat. And then for the last pain point item, the anode ion particle, you just want to go to hard mode large supply transport point, and so it's this mission here. All you do is you'll run through until you have to break the Kuiper shards, and what you'll do is you'll break all but one, and then you'll wait until the timer gets to about 30 seconds. Within that time about 5 yellow health bosses will spawn in that can each drop this item, so you could get this done in one run as long as you don't get too unlucky, but otherwise you can just sort of finish the mission and reset until you have all that you need. So yeah, hope that helps. Thanks.